Our basses are not pretty standard, just 16ths.
Yeah,
16ths, and then we sidechain them really, and find nice bass sound that fits. Again, we go back to the stuff where we're listening now. We've got the kick, we've got the drums all working together. That's sounding nice. You then want a bass that sounds really nice with the kick.
Yeah.
And normally, rather than get a bass that sounds crap and try and process the bejesus out of it to fit it in, we just find a bass. You use your ear and find a bass that fits in, and then bits of tweaks on it.
We've used this Dark Acid one. We've used this one on another track.
Yeah.
But we've tweaked just one of the some of the settings in here, just basically get it sounding a bit more on top. This quite, I don't know, it's just dark type of bass.
So we just listen on its own.
Yeah. Hang on. I'll take off the shaper box.
Yeah, so it's just
That's all it is.
And then we've got a shaper box on, which is just a side chain.
Yeah, we've used it for side chain.
We've got a pretty on this side chain. Obviously, with shaper box, you can. So we're really side chaining the lows really, aggressively. You can see on the lows, and if you flick to the mids, that changes it, and it's a bit more because there's a lot of. We don't want any lows hitting with the kick. But we can let some more of the mids through, and we want the tops to come through in that side chain. So it's just a split side chain.
Yeah, you'll find it'll really depend on your track. So like this one, we want the bass, the rolling bass to really cut through. So the kick, we've actually gone through. If we go back to the kick, we've shortened it down here. And then we've kept, so that cuts off about halfway through here, and then we've boosted the bottom end of, taken off all the bottom end of the bass, the first half, and then they just gel together. Sometimes you might want your bass only coming in a bit more towards the end there, and you kick really driving the track, but it really depends on your track. And so in terms of processing, we've got a bit of EQ. I say a lot of EQ, just boosting it up. We find that some basses where they've not got much bass at all, instead of layering, sometimes it's just better to just boost it with an EQ.
Because we've got that side chain that's taken from and it just adds. You probably won't even get a lot of that. It'll just tickle in, but you just get a little feel of it. So
yeah, we've got that. I'll take some of these off, and you can be able to see how they fit in. If I take off these,
just take off to what we started.
So this is how it sounds at the start. This is with the EQ.
So we added a lot more bass to that.
A lot more bass.
The Saturn.
Stuck it through a Saturn. I think we just added in some like grit there.
Yeah.
Just give it a bit more of a tougher sound. This CQ is one from Sound Toys. It's got good character. It's an EQ that's got a lot of character into it. So it almost sounds a bit like a compressor sometimes. So this is without, and then with.
Yeah, you can just hear it's picking up that top end in it and
it's like
making it pop
mids.
out. Mids and tops to pop out.
And then that's basically the sound of our bass. And then to give it the rolling feel, we've just added the side chain.
And you can hear now a lot of that bass that we've been added in with the EQ has been cut out with that side chain, but it's just as that slope comes up, it just lets that little bit in that gap where from in between the kick and the bass, so it just lets them melt together. Melt together. And then the filter
is there just to for automation, just like as we're going through the track, like bringing in things, bringing things out. The track spacer is more for the I know this is more of a mix down thing. I noticed that when the vocal was coming in, it was hard to hear at certain points, and there was a lot of stuff clashing. So I think I put the track spacer, which is it's basically, it will take a side chain signal, so the vocal coming in.
So the vocal comes in and then it ducks that, so they're not clashing.
That ducks that section of frequency. So if I push play now and then bring in the vocal in over this part here where the vocal is playing. It's this bit over here, sorry. See where it's cutting out. And I've really narrowed it down. Usually it'll try and guess
it all,
and you can see that working over here. But what I've done is use the low and high cut to really just narrow it just down to that problem region I found.
Yeah, well, that's the thing where you don't want it clashing where the human voice sits. I think what is it, about 7? What was it, about 7K or something?
7 to 1.5.
Yeah, so that's where
There you go. Look,
the
it's literally 7
the
up to
human
3.
voice sits in that range.
Yeah.
So if while the vocal's on, if you've got other stuff happening in that range, it makes the vocal sound clashy.
Yeah.
So if that's just ducking that bass, them frequencies out of that bass sound.
Yeah.
To make to clear up.
Yeah.
It's like when you've got, you're getting told off by your mum and your bird and your auntie at the same time. You can't differentiate between all three, so you need to chin a couple of them, so you can just hear one at a time.
Sounds like you've been told off a few times.
Oh mate, loads of times. But yeah, so it just ducks it out of the way.
Yeah, for that I would have just used my ear. I would have gone to roughly where you think it is, about 700 to, and then I would have just used my ear to make sure I play everything with the bass, and then tweak this until I can hear the vocal and the bass sounds like it's working at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's all the processing on the bass.
Cool.